Hey guys, so I'm here today to get you started with the FS-I FS-I6 and Velocidrone. So before I get started, I'd like to give a special thanks to 909 FPV. It's been a great help in regard to getting me started with simulation and also getting me started with purchasing my first drone. So when you first get the controller, you're going to receive the actual controller and a data cable. Leave the data cable in the box. Don't even take it out. Now this is the actual simulation cable that I purchased off Amazon. I will post a link in the description below. And this is the cable that you're going to need to do simulation. The other cable in there is a data cable, so it's not going to simulate for you. Now, as you can see here, wire is plugged into the back. There's a modified aux cable here, and then over here into my hub, there's the USB. And it's blinking. That's normal. Don't be alarmed by that. It's not broken. Still working. Alright. So, here's the driver that you're going to need. CP210X. And it's distributed by Silicon Labs. And this is what's going to be able to take that USB wire and make it communicate with your controller. So if you plug this in and you try to launch the game, nothing's going to happen. That driver is specific to making the wire communicate with the controller. So you need that first, guys. So go ahead and download that. And in theory, everything should work after that. Now what I did was, when I first got it, I was like, I bought the simulation cable, but why don't I go ahead and try the USB data cable? Well, big mistake. When I plugged that in and downloaded the driver, it binded to the cable, the data cable. And when I went to go plug in the simulation cable, the driver was unrecognizable to the simulation cable. So what I had to do was I had to uninstall the Silicon Labs driver. You can right click on it and click on install. And then you just go over to the Silicon Labs page and download it again, or you can go right to downloads and just re-download it because the file's already there. Now, to take into consideration USB hubs, USB import slots, each import slot is dedicated to its own COM port. Now, for instance, say you have a USB hub and there's 3 inputs for USB on there. So it's going to be COM port 1, COM port 2, COM port 3. For this case, I'm going to keep the same USB input, because if I change the COM ports or the USB input here on my hub, I don't know if the driver is going to recognize what input of the USB I'm using. So after you get this all good and dandy, every time you plug this cable in, use the same USB input, just to keep it kosher, just so no issues come up. So you got the driver downloaded, you got the controller plugged in, it's not on yet. When you go flick it on, what you're going to need to do is go into your control panel, and then right here, you can see the description here, control panel, hardware and sound, device and printers. Now, the Velocidrone company has a link on YouTube that I'll post in the description below, and it'll show you how to do this. And just for example, Xbox One is gray. This PPM with a bunch of zeros means that it's the FS-I6 controller. So for sneak peek purposes, you right click on this, you go to game controller settings, and the gentleman over there will explain to you how to adjust your X and Y axis. And you need to do that in the Windows first, because when you launch Velocidrone initially and you go to throw this stick, it's such a short throw that the Velocidrone program is not recognizing that you're actually throwing a stick. So after you go through with the actual Microsoft Windows calibration and you launch Velocidrone, it's able to notice that when you're trying to assign the controller and you're trying to throw the stick, whatever stick it may be, it recognizes the fact that the stick is actually being thrown. the initial default settings that Microsoft is programmed for your actual device is not enough throw for Velocidrone to recognize that the stick is actually being thrown. So once you calibrate the actual stick throw, then you'll be able to launch the game and everything will work, hopefully. I hope that this video helps someone. I did spend a lot of time on this. It was very frustrating, especially trying to get into simulation and drones at first, and it was discouraging, to not have this work. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I finally got it. So I hope this video helps someone out, guys. If you have any questions, throw me a comment. I'll try to help you out the best I can. All right, good luck, guys.